Have you ever been in a place so quiet you could hear your heart beat? A night so still that even the crickets dared not sing. That's when he comes. The villagers call him the night whistler, a spirit that hunts through sound. And if you ever hear your name whispered between the trees after dark, whatever you do, don't answer. Welcome to Africa's Dark Whispers. I'm Ella, and tonight we journey into the forest where silence kills, and even your breath can betray you. Make sure the lights are on, because once you step into this story, there's no turning back. Ekuasa was a small West African village, hemmed in by thick forest and stories older than the trees themselves. By day, it was a place of laughter, market chatter pounding mortars, children chasing goats. But once the sun slipped beyond the horizon, everything changed. The villagers sealed their doors, smothered their fires, and prayed under their breath. Because when night fell, something else woke. A cold wind crept through the trees, carrying a low, haunting whistle, soft, rising, falling, like a tune only the dead remembered. It would start far away, then closer and closer, until it brushed against your ear like a whisper. And the rule was simple: never whistle back. But humans are curious creatures, aren't we? Kofi, a 17-year-old woodcutter, didn't believe in tales. He was strong, full of pride, the kind who laughed at superstition. That evening, he stayed behind after the others left the forest. His axe rested on a log. He whistled a tune, light, careless, echoing into the dark. And then, the forest answered. A whistle floated back, faint, almost playful. Kofi frowned. He whistled again, and the forest mocked him, mimicking every note perfectly. The hair on his neck bristled. He spun around. Nothing. Just tall trees, shadows, and silence thick enough to choke on. But then he heard it. His own name, whispered softly. Kofi. The voice was his mother's. Gentle. Familiar. Trembling. His chest tightened. "Mama?" he called. But deep down he knew. His mother was miles away, at home. The whisper came again, closer now. Kofi. A sudden gust of wind tore through the trees. The whistle turned shrill, angry, desperate, alive. Kofi ran. Branches whipped his face. His breath came out in ragged bursts. Behind him, the forest whistled. Not one voice, many. By dawn, all they found was his axe, and footprints that stopped at the edge of the clearing, as though he'd been lifted straight into the air. The morning after Kofi vanished, the air in Ekuasa was heavy with fear. Mothers clutched their children tighter. Hunters refused to enter the forest. Even the village dogs refused to bark. The chief, old Nkrumah, gathered the elders under the baobab tree. "It's just a beast," he said, though his eyes betrayed doubt. "We will hunt it." But that night, as the hunters prepared, the whistle began again. Low, long, piercing. It snaked through every hut, creeping under doors, slipping into ears. One by one, fires dimmed, lamps flickered. And then came the voices, not just whistling. Names. Ama, Kwesi, Kojo. Each name whispered softly, like a lover's breath, then followed by silence. And by dawn, 3 more people were gone. No struggle, no blood, just empty sleeping mats and the faint smell of wet earth. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to hit the like button. Engage and follow us for more Africa's Dark Whisper stories. We love you already. Desperate, the chief summoned Nana Efua, the village seer, an old woman whose eyes were clouded but saw more than most dared to imagine. She arrived at dusk, carrying a gourd filled with cowrie shells and ashes. She listened to the whistle echoing faintly through the trees and said, "This is no beast. This is the whistler of the dead. A soul left unburied, one who died with his name stolen." Her voice quivered like wind through dry grass. When the living forget the dead, they come back, hungry for remembrance. The crowd murmured in fear, but she silenced them with a raised hand. "To silence the whistler," she said, "someone must enter the forbidden grove, where the last echo dies, and call his name back to life." No one moved, not even the hunters. But from the back of the crowd, a small voice spoke. "I will go." It was Amma, Kofi's sister, barely 16. Tears stained her face, but her eyes burned with the same stubborn fire her brother once had. That night, with a torch in one hand and her brother's necklace around her wrist, Amma stepped into the forest. The village watched her disappear between the trees, swallowed by darkness. Every sound was alive, every whisper suspicious. Leaves rustled where there was no wind. A soft hum followed her, echoing her heartbeat. Then the first whistle came, faint and low. She froze. "Kofi!" Her brother's voice, clear, gentle. She turned slowly. Nothing. Only the trees, tall and watchful. Then the torch flickered and died. She stood in darkness, the moon barely a silver wound above the canopy. Something brushed her shoulder, cold, thin, wet. She turned again and saw him, Kofi, pale, hollow-eyed, his mouth moving, but the sound was a whistle. rising and falling from somewhere deep inside his throat. Amma's voice broke. "Kofi, please come home." But Kofi's head tilted sharply, unnaturally, like a puppet's, and his whisper twisted into a hiss. "There is no home." The ground trembled beneath her feet. From the shadows, other shapes emerged. Faces she knew. The missing villagers. All pale, all whispering. Their voices overlapped into a single mournful melody. The whistle of the damned. Amma fell to her knees, clutching her brother's necklace. "Spirit of the forgotten, I call your name back to the light." Her words cracked through the forest. The whistle grew louder, angrier, as if the darkness itself screamed. Then, silence. For a heartbeat, everything was still. The air thick with ash and moonlight. Slowly, the necklace in her hand began to burn, glowing faintly gold. The whistler stepped forward. His face flickered. First Kofi's, then 100 others. A single tear rolled down Amma's cheek. "Go home," she whispered. And then he smiled. For the first time, not with malice, but release. The forest erupted in light. A gust of wind tore through the trees. And when Amma opened her eyes, she was alone. Amma returned to the village at dawn. The air felt new, lighter, like a curse lifted. The villagers cheered, but she said nothing. Only placed the necklace at the base of the baobab. That night, for the first time in generations, there was no whistle. But just before sunrise, as Amma sat by her window, she heard it. Faint, almost tender, drifting through the trees. Her brother's voice. "Amma." She smiled through her tears. "I hear you." And somewhere deep in the forest, the wind carried a single note. Not of fear, but of peace. And that was the haunting tale of the night whistler. A reminder that some whispers are not carried by the wind, but by the souls that never found peace. From this story, we learn that curiosity can be deadly, and that some mysteries are best left unsolved. The past always leaves echoes, and sometimes those echoes call your name. Thank you for watching. Until we meet again in the next episode, this is Ella signing off. And remember, in Africa's dark whispers, not every story is just a story.